Man, love is so good, man. Love a one sing sing. Love a one sing sing. Let me tell you something. Hey, nobody knows love and romance like my Igbo people. Do you understand? For those of you that don't know, love one sing sing basically means small love, but it's generally used to kind of communicate a sweet, aromatic, tantalizing type of love. You understand? But real talk though, love is sweet, ain't it? As someone that's in love right now, I can assure you is a nice one. You understand? I don't miss these streets, dog, whatsoever. I got me a warm blanket and a heater inside the house. Do you get what I'm saying? But even more so, guys, I feel blessed and enriched to have received a knowledge of an even deeper, more fulfilling love since becoming a Christian, you know? And that's what today's video will be exploring and we'll be talking about. Understanding godly love in romance a little bit. Because one thing that I realized is that society has warped the idea, and I mean warped the concept of love. If the world were to tell it, love is the getting of the butterfly, you know what I'm saying? The tingly mingly feeling in your belly. You look at the movies and you see love as a twinkle in someone's eye when that person just, comes into the room, see what I did there, Nah, like when they see a little cutie patootie, In fact, one thing that I have a personal pet peeve about is how so many movies, so many books, and personalities online describe a love that stemmed from or led to some sort of affair or secret relationship. Like you can have the example of a woman in a relationship, but she's just so intrigued and mystique by this new guy that comes into the room who's so edgy. Or you have like a married man who's been married for 20 years and he works and he's grafting, but work is so difficult. And you have his female colleague who just seems to get him and understand him more than his wife of 20 years. In my head, that doesn't really make sense as love, because how can love cause you to do something as cruel as cheat? So I never accepted that kind of definition, to be honest. And when I see the world's kind of definition of love, I see a lot of talk about feelings, which can be an issue because feelings fade. You get me? Like we all know this. Understand? So if not the world's definition, why should we take what the Bible's definition of love is? You know? Well, because love is God's thing. God is love, and to know love is to know God. Was it not out of his outpour of love for us that he gave up his only son to die on our behalf? So it makes sense that to understand what love is, we look to God's word. For one, the evidence of love, according to the world, is the state of your present feeling,
Girl, how does he make you feel?
Is the spark not there anymore?
Sorry, rom-com lovers, but this is your average, your average Joe Schmo film. Do you understand? Now, the Bible teaches us the complete, almost inverse. See, God makes it clear that godly love is evidenced as a commitment to action, not based on your present feelings. Ephesians chapter 5 verses 1 introduces this idea because Paul encourages us to follow God's example and walk in the way of love. Now, straight away, we are urged to be imitators of Christ, who is the gold standard of what it means to love. See, when Jesus was being shamed, flogged, mocked, his demonstration of love to us throughout that was not how he felt, but rather that he committed to the action of giving his life up for us. The rest of Ephesians 5 then goes on to depict how to actually walk in a godly way through a series of actions that are glorifying to God. Before directly addressing how a man and a woman should love in a relationship, well, in marriage, you know what I'm saying? Husbands and wives need to submit to one another, husbands sacrificing fully for their wives, and wives to respect and follow the leadership of their husbands. Nowhere in this chapter teaching about love does Paul say man and woman should feel fuzzy about one another during your relationship. It's not because feelings don't matter, as we'll see later, but because the feelings of us, me included, as sinners, can be too fleeting to be a foundation of love. I mean, just think about how many times you may not have felt like you wanted to eat, but eventually you ate anyways because you knew that giving your body nourishment had nothing to do with how you were feeling in those moments. Other examples of this kind of love demonstrated as a commitment to action include Ruth and Boaz in the book of Ruth. Now, Boaz was a God-fearing man. In fact, the Bible describes him as a man of valor. You get me? It's serious. When Boaz saw Ruth plowing in the field with nothing, he invited her to stay to access more grain. He gave her water, and he protected her from harm, potentially from other men. And honestly, that's even one small illy-billy piece of the godly love shown in Ruth and Boaz's story. I'd recommend you read it. But the love of Boaz to Ruth was not impulsive romance or a sparkly fairy tale. I don't know why I did it like that. Sorry. Instead, it was a steadfast commitment of love demonstrated through protection, through responsibility, integrity, and most importantly, a fear of God. Don't get me wrong, Boaz could have been smitten and had the ticklitions in his tummy when he saw Ruth. But it was his commitment to actions that the Bible holds in esteem as godly love. I think in the past I found myself waiting a long time to give the best that I could in difficult moments of my relationship because I was being led by what my feelings and mood were at that time. And I think this often led to misunderstandings, which led to conflict, which led to distance. But I thank God because instead, when I went to God for the strength to serve my woman, despite what my feelings told me, I found we reached a greater depth in our relationship. Recently, she was in hospital and I would go to see her every day, bring in what I could to help and just staying around. And to tell you the truth, I was tired, scared, anxious, and tired. But what grounded me was me going to God for the strength to continue being present for her. I mean, she was infinitely more tired, scared, anxious, and tired than I was. So it would have been no good for me to wait until my feelings subsided. The next thing about worldly love is that it tells you to receive what you can, and godly love tells you to give all we can. I mean, if we just look at love languages, for example, words of affirmation, gift giving, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, All of these things are kind of unique ways that explain how we can receive our ideal love, right? But I think that sometimes the focus on how we can receive the perfect love leaves the temptation to have maybe a more self-centered kind of love. You know, if in the pursuit of a relationship we are looking for how we can receive love, where is our heart to give love? What happens if we do not immediately receive what we think we should? What if both the man and the woman think they should receive love first before giving? See, when Jesus was teaching about love, he made sure to direct the Israelites to a certain example to follow himself. In John chapter 13, he said, "A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another." Well, what do we know about how Jesus loved? Jesus came to give all day and all night long. He gave us the gift of everlasting life. He demonstrated the greatest act of service on the cross. He blesses us in the presence of God in heaven on our behalf. He demonstrated physical acts of healing through physical touch. And he spent quality time with his people back then and with us now through the Holy Spirit. So our fulfillment of his example of love is to give to others. And there are many ways we can do this. Here's just a few. You know, we can give our time. We can give our service. We can give patience. We can give forgiveness. We can give financially. I know some of you now that have said I want to see your eyes shine before. You weren't paying attention. Now I said give financially. You're now, but it's okay. For me, in my life, I've definitely found that love through giving has brought me infinitely more fulfillment in my relationship. I remember there was a time when my partner, she said to me that she felt like I did so much for her and it made her feel like she didn't hold up her weight. And internally, I basically began to laugh in my head because for a few days leading up to that conversation, I was literally thinking, wow, look how much this woman does for me. How much she takes care of me and how much she puts up with me and tolerates me. I need to give her so much more of me right now because I'm not pulling my weight. Now, naturally, I kind of kept this to myself, to have like a little, like a 1-up, you know what I'm saying? It's a joke, Obviously, I told her what was on my mind as well. But I think something like that was such a blessing to experience. That God has given us both a heart to essentially outlove each other, so much so that we both sometimes doubt if we have been loving each other enough. Now, some of you may be wondering, hold on, brother. What does this mean for me? Because I'm convinced that I have the feeling of love for someone. So am I just supposed to throw the warm fuzzies away? Short answer, no. Even though God tells us to prioritize commitment, serving, giving, and a pursuit of God over our feelings when it comes to living out godly love, the Bible does show us the beautiful outpour of feelings that we experience from godly love. Look at Songs of Solomon. That book is full of songs and poetry about love. It celebrates intimacy and joy in romantic relationship, while simultaneously honoring the covenantal love between God and his people, right?
How much more pleasing is your love than wine, and the fragrance of your perfume more than any spice.
That's Songs of Solomon chapter 4 verses 10. Just pure lyricism. Ultimately, your feelings of love are not bad or something to run from. In fact, passages like these show that romantic love expressed in the right context of relationship, of marriage, is beautiful and sacred. We all want that feeling of love. And why not? Just remember this Valentine's period that whilst you're dating, living out godly examples of love lead to the warm fuzzies that we can truly embrace. Anyways, thank you for listening. Please leave a comment below. How do you guys like to show love? Or what's something that you've learned about yourself and love, when spending time with God or with other people? I would love to hear about it. But in the meantime, please like, comment, subscribe. Peace.